If you're trying to decide between Houston and Austin, I get it. A lot of people move into Texas have those two cities on their short list, and on the surface, both sound great. Austin has hype, Houston has the size. Austin has the music scene, Houston has the value. But once you really start looking at where you're going to live, how you want to spend your weekends, what kind of home you want, and what kind of day-to-day life you actually want, these two cities are very different. And I can tell you that from real life. My name is Jamie Graves and I moved to Houston over 40 years ago. I've lived in many different parts of the area. I've traveled all across Texas and I've spent enough time in other major cities to know they each have their own personality. I've been in San Antonio, lived close to there. I've spent plenty of time in Dallas. I know Austin well as well, and while there are things I enjoy about all of them, Houston has always been home for me for a reason. So in this video, I want to walk you through Houston versus Austin in a real, honest, practical way, not just the glossy brochure version. I'm going to talk about what it actually feels like to live in each place, what the geography is like, and how the housing compares, what kind of lifestyle you can expect, and why, for me personally, Houston still wins. So let's get into it. Before we do, if this is your first time on the channel and you're thinking about moving to Houston, Texas, make sure you reach out, call, text, email, whatever works best for you. My team and I help people relocate to the Houston area all the time, and we'd love to help make your move a whole lot easier. All right, Houston versus Austin. The first big difference is the overall feel of the land itself. A lot of people think Texas is just flat, and yes, some parts absolutely are. Dallas to me feels very flat. It does cool off a little more up there, which some people like, but visually it doesn't have a lot of variety for me. San Antonio, in my opinion, feels very dry. It has its own charm, but it leans drier and hotter in a way that just feels different. Austin is beautiful in its own way. I'll give Austin that all day long. It has that hill country look that people love. You've got rolling hills, limestone, lakes, views, and a lot of areas that feel scenic right away. If you drive through parts of Austin, you can see why so many people fall in love with it. But here's what I think a lot of people miss about Houston. Houston has way more variety than people expect. When people who aren't from here think of Houston, they picture one giant flat concrete city, and that's just not the full story. Houston is huge, and because it is so spread out, you actually get very different looks and lifestyles depending on where you are. You can be in northern Houston, be surrounded by trees. You can be in the wooded areas that feel peaceful and established. You can be in a master plan community with lakes, trails, and green space. You can be closer to the city and get a more urban feel, or you can head in another direction and feel like you've got more room to breathe. That variety matters. Because for a lot of people, moving here, you're not just choosing a city, you're choosing a lifestyle instead of the city. And Houston gives you a lot of options. Now, Austin does have that pretty built-in topography that people notice right away, but it also feels much more crowded to me now than it used to. That's one of the biggest reasons I lean towards Houston. Austin is a great place, I'm not knocking it, it really is. But it has gotten so overcrowded that for many people, the day-to-day experience starts to wear on you. The traffic, the competition for housing, the density, the constant growth, the pressure, it can make a city that feels exciting at first start to feel exhausting after a while. Houston, on the other hand, feels like it gives you more room to live, more room to choose your neighborhood, more room to get the kind of house you actually want, and more room to build a life that feels like yours. Now let's talk about climate for a minute, because this matters more than people think. Austin is drier, Houston is more humid. That's just real. If you love a drier feel, Austin may win that category for you. San Antonio is dry too, maybe even more than some people expect. Houston is definitely more humid, especially in the summer, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But climate is about more than humidity. It's also about what comes with the area. In Houston, you get lushness, you get greenery, you get different types of terrain throughout the region. You get a wooded neighborhood in parts of town that surprise people who thought Houston was all one note. That's one of the trade-offs. Austin gives you the hill country vibe. Houston gives you more diversity in setting and more diversity in community. And for me, that wins. Now, Let's talk about housing, because this is where a lot of relocation buyers get very serious very fast. People move to Texas because they want opportunity and they also want value. And when you compare Houston and Austin, Houston generally gives you more house for your money. That has been one of the biggest differences for years. In Austin, you can find beautiful homes, no doubt about it. Some of the architecture is really attractive. It can feel modern, trendy, and stylish. There's neighborhoods that have a lot of character, but you're gonna pay for it. And because Austin has become such a hot market, that affordability gap becomes very real for families, retirees, young professionals, and pretty much anybody who doesn't want to feel house poor the second they move in. Houston gives buyers more flexibility. Maybe you want a bigger lot. Maybe you want more square footage. Maybe you want to be in a neighborhood with amenities. Maybe you want mature trees. Maybe you want newer construction. Maybe you want to stay within a certain monthly payment and not feel squeezed. Houston gives you more chances to do that. That is a huge deal, especially for people who are relocating from out of state, who are trying to make a smart long-term move, not just an emotional one. And then there's the family factor. This is another reason I love Houston. Austin can absolutely work for families. My own family lives outside Austin. There are good suburbs there. These are nice areas there, but overall, Houston feels more naturally set up for family life across a lot of different price points and areas. There's so many communities here that are built around real living. Parks, pools, walking trails, community events, schools nearby. Neighborhood is where people actually stay and put down roots. Now, that is something Houston does very well. And because I've been here for over 40 years, I've watched the city grow in a way that still leaves room for different stages of life. Young couples can find their place here. Families can find their place here. Empty nesters can find their place here. People wanting more land can find that too. Houston is broad enough to meet people where they are. Now, as far as lifestyle goes, this is where Austin and Houston really split. Austin has a strong identity, music, arts, a little more quirky energy, a little more trendy, a little more curated. And if that is your thing, I completely understand the appeal. But Houston feels more layered to me. It's bigger, it's more diverse, it has more industries, it has more neighborhoods with very different personalities. It's got great sports, great food, culture, family living, professional opportunities. It's not trying to be one thing. That's actually one of my favorite things about Houston. You don't have to fit into one narrow version of the city to belong here. And I think that matters for people relocating, because sometimes people visit Austin and have a great weekend there, and they should, it's fun. But living somewhere is not the same as visiting somewhere. Living somewhere means grocery stores, commute, times, school, pickup, home prices, weekend errands, neighborhood feel, and whether your daily life actually works. That is where Houston shines. And one more thing I want to say, because this matters to me personally. After traveling all across Texas and living in different places, there are definitely parts of this state I really enjoy. I can appreciate what makes San Antonio unique. I can appreciate what people like about Dallas. I can appreciate why Austin draws so many people in. But Houston keeps pulling me back because it feels more livable. It feels more flexible. It feels more grounded. It feels more real. You can find wooded areas in northern Houston. You can find established neighborhoods with character. You can find communities that feel family friendly. You can find city energy if you want it. And you can still find more value here than in Austin. That combination is hard to beat. So if you're trying to decide between Houston and Austin, here's my honest take. If you want a city with a strong, trendy identity, beautiful hill country surroundings, and that Austin energy, then Austin may be the place for you. But if you want more room, more housing options, more neighborhood variety, more family-friendly communities, and a city that gives you different kinds of topography and lifestyle, depending on where you land, Houston is a really strong choice. And for me, after more than 40 years here, Houston is still home. It's not perfect, no city is, but it gives people options, and that matters. If you're thinking about moving to Houston, or you're still trying to compare Houston to Austin, and you want help narrowing down the best area for your lifestyle, reach out to us. We talk to people making this move all the time, and we'd love to help you figure out what fits you best. Call us, text us, send an email, whatever's easiest. And if this video helped you, make sure you subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and let me know, would you rather choose Houston or Austin? I'd love to hear what's on your short list, and I'll see you in the next video. If you want, I can turn this